Are you ready to bake the holidays and bring in the new year? We're counting down and celebrating. 3, 2, 1. But New Year's Eve makes me think of champagne. So I have this strawberry and champagne panna cotta that is so creamy and light. Amazing! Oh, that's so good. And I'm gonna show you a cakeover that goes from this to this. Talk about a glow up. Plus, chocolate dipped fortune cookies for luck and a brownie espresso martini that will give you the pep you need to stay up all night. Well, at least until the ball drops. I'm Mia Star, and I love to bake. Woo! I like to roll up my sleeves, get creative, and decorate all kinds of yummy treats. So amazing, it's like a flavor explosion. And to me, any holiday is a perfect excuse to throw on an apron, make a giant batch of buttercream, and get a little extra. Ooh! I'll teach you techniques and show you a ton of shortcuts. Isn't this the cutest thing you've ever seen? Whatever your level of expertise, I promise you'll be able to pull this off. Let's bake the holidays. Fortune cookies are such a fun New Year's tradition, and if you make them yourself, you can write fortunes for your friends. To make the batter, mix together egg whites, oil, and vanilla. Now whisk that together until it's nice and frothy. It might take a minute. Whipping the egg whites is gonna help whip some air into the batter so that the cookies are light and crispy. Next, mix in sugar, flour, cornstarch, and water, and a nice generous pinch of salt. Now mix until the batter is lump-free. That looks pretty smooth. And that's it for the batter. It's super simple. Now time to scoop the batter onto a baking sheet lined with a silicone mat. It helps the cookie to release from the pan, which is important because you have to work quickly when folding these fortune cookies. Taking a scoop, I'm gonna fill it almost all the way. Now I'm gonna scoop right onto there and use the back of the scoop to spread it out into a circle that's about 4 inches in diameter. I'm only gonna bake 2 at a time because for these cookies, as soon as they come out of the oven, so you only have several seconds to fold them while they're still warm and malleable. Now I'm gonna bake these at 300 for about 14 to 18 minutes. What you're looking for is a really pale golden color throughout the whole cookie, and the edges will be a little bit darker golden brown. Wow, these look perfect. They have a nice pale color on top and the edges are smooth. So very gently, I'm gonna pick it up, slide my spatula underneath, and it'll be a little bit hot, but it's okay. Place the fortune right inside, then fold it in half, and fold it in half the other way over the rim of the glass. Just hold for a few seconds. There's not enough time to stay here and hold it and let it cool all the way, which is why I'm gonna place it into the muffin tin over here. It's got a curved shape, so it will hold it in that shape that I formed it into. And do the next one. Ooh, it's still soft. The longer they cool before you fold, the more likely they are to crack. Pinch the corners together and hold it tight before you move it to the muffin tin. Because I want to dip these in chocolate later, I want to close up the gap as much as I can. So it's fun to do with friends. You're gonna put a batch in, hang out, take a batch out, fold them, put a batch in. I gotta dress up the fortune cookies for the New Year's Eve party, so I'm gonna dip them in chocolate. I wanna keep it simple and classy, so I'm gonna sprinkle on these small nonpareils. Nonpareils are basically like a teeny tiny round sprinkle. Just give it a little shake to shake off any excess. Then, while it's still wet, over the parchment paper, sprinkle some sprinkles. That's so cute. I'm also gonna add some stars. That adds kind of a New Year's flair, don't you think? I just like dipping the legs in. Also, that helps it to drip off too. Get fancy with it. Wow! That's so cute. Wow, these turned out so great. Imagine placing this at the front entrance of a party and having everyone grab a fortune when they come in. That'd be super fun. Let's try it. Mmm. That's really good. It's crispy and the chocolate adds to the flavor. Next, I'm gonna show you how to make the perfect cocktail for New Year's Eve. Place some brownie crumbs onto a small plate. Pour some of the chocolate vodka onto a small plate and dip the rim of the glass into the vodka. Turn the glass upside down and into the brownie crumbs. Twist the glass to coat the rim with the brownie crumbs. To make the cocktail, pour into a cocktail shaker filled with ice, 2 ounces coffee liqueur, 1 ounce of cold brew or cold espresso, 1.5 ounces of chocolate vodka. Place on the lid and shake vigorously until the shaker is icy. Pour the drink into the prepared martini glass. Now it's time to pop the bubbly for this next dessert. Panna cotta is an Italian dessert. It looks and sounds really complicated, but it actually takes less than 30 minutes to put it together. First, pour milk into a cold saucepan. Add sugar and gelatin. Now this is just gonna sit here for about 5 minutes for the gelatin to bloom. While this is blooming, I'm gonna cut my vanilla bean. Just slice down the center, peel it. Okay, now run your knife along to scrape out all the seeds. It's been about 5 minutes and the gelatin has bloomed into kind of a bubbly texture. So now I'm gonna turn the heat on to medium, high heat, and let that heat up. I'm also gonna add both the vanilla bean pods and the seeds. Then just mix everything together as it's heating up. And now what you're looking for is the gelatin to dissolve. Now I'm gonna take it off the heat, remove the vanilla bean pods. Now to this mixture, add a pinch of salt and cold cream. The cold cream is gonna bring down the temperature of this mixture and that will cut down the setting time in the fridge. Mix that all up. Now I'm gonna transfer this into a gravy separator before pouring it into my glasses. This is helpful because it has a nice long spout that starts from the bottom, which will make it easier to pour into the glass. I'm gonna grab a muffin tin and a paper towel, fold this up and place it on one side of the muffin tin, and then place a glass at an angle like this. This way, when I pour this in and put it in the fridge to set, it just makes it look fancy, but you can totally skip this step. Then pour it in. Once it's poured in, you really want to try to not move it, because if you do move it, it's going to leave residue everywhere where the panna cotta mixture touched. And to keep that sharp line, I just want to keep it at this angle. Now this is going to take about 3 to 4 hours to set. So you could stop there with the panna cotta with just the vanilla bean layer and it will be delicious. But for New Year's, I wanted to do something special. I'm making a pink champagne strawberry jelly to lay on top of the panna cotta. Because champagne, it's New Year's, come on. Now I'm gonna pour 2 cups of this. I don't know why I squeak every time. I know it's coming. Pour this into a saucepan. Add pureed strawberries. It's gonna be so good. Strawberries and cream, who doesn't love that? Add the sugar and sprinkle the gelatin over. Again, wait about 5 minutes for it to bloom. I'm gonna pour myself a glass right now. I'm kidding. I'll put this in the fridge for later. See how that gelatin has bloomed over the bubbles of the champagne? It's kind of left a film over the liquid. Now I'm gonna turn the heat on and let that gelatin dissolve. Now I'm gonna take it off the heat and pour it into my other gravy separator. This is actually still pretty hot, so I'm gonna set it aside to cool for a bit because I don't wanna pour this hot liquid over my set panna cotta. Wow, look at them. When you tilt them up, they stay like magic. Now I'm gonna flip each cup the other direction. And the jelly layer is gonna go into the other side of the glass. Then when it sets, it's gonna create a cool V-shaped pattern. Now time to pour the strawberry pink champagne layer. You can use anything to pour it into the glasses. This spout just makes it easier. I'm gonna put these back in the fridge for another 3 hours to set. Whoa, look at that. It jiggles a little bit. Your friends are gonna be like, oh my gosh, am I at a restaurant? They really don't take long to put together. It's just a long setting time. So it's low effort on your part. The fridge is doing all the work. Wow. I gotta get the perfect bite. Amazing! So bright and vibrant, and the strawberries are so sweet and a little tart. The creaminess of the panna cotta, it's everything you want. Maybe I'll just hide a couple of these in the fridge for myself. This next cake is gilded and looks like $1 million, but it started its life in the grocery store. New Year's Eve is all about excess. Staying up all night, partying hard, so I'm going big with this cake. And everybody loves a grocery store cake makeover, or as we like to call it, a cakeover. For this cakeover, I need 2 half-sheet cakes that I got from the grocery store. And first step is to just scrape off all the decoration. There's nothing wrong with the way grocery store cakes come. I mean, this is great. And personally, I really like the texture of grocery store cakes. But since it's New Year's Eve, I just want to dress it up a little bit. And after Hanukkah and Christmas, you can often get these kinds of cakes on a sale. I'm gonna make a 2-tier cake, so I need to cut out 2 layers of an 8-inch circle and 2 layers of a 6-inch circle. Then I'll stack both of them on top of each other. That was the messiest part of the process. Everything else should be pretty clean. I'm just gonna move these over to the side while I make the filling for my cake. First, I'm gonna just make some instant chocolate pudding by mixing a pack of instant pudding, then whisking that together with milk. I like to challenge myself to think of different filling ideas that are really low effort and made from things that I can pick up at the grocery store, which is why I'm using this instant pudding and these store-bought shortbread cookies and store-bought caramel. Once that is lump-free, I'm gonna place this in the fridge to set. While the pudding is setting, I'm gonna chop up some shortbread cookies. These are great because they're kind of hard and dry, so they're gonna pair really nicely with the pudding and give a good crunch to the filling. Now I'm ready to stack and fill my cake. I made a giant batch of buttercream and I dyed 1/2 of it black and kept 1 white. To crumb coat the cake, I'll start with white buttercream. Then cut a hole about 1 inch. And since this cake has a really goopy filling, it's essential to build a dam around the rim of the cake before adding the filling to the cake. I've created a dam and I'm gonna start by pouring some of the pudding into the center of the cake. It's also really important to not overfill the cakes, so I don't wanna go all the way up to the line of the dam that I piped, but just below. Now I'm gonna sprinkle some of the chopped shortbread cookies all over, making sure every slice is gonna get a bite. That extra texture just increases the enjoyment of a cake slice. Now finally, I'm gonna drizzle caramel over the top of the cookies. Yum. I'm gonna grab the second 8-inch layer and place that right on top. Push down a little to adhere and remove the cake board. To crumb coat this cake, I'm gonna start with a plop of buttercream on top, then push it out over the sides and coat the whole cake in a thin layer of buttercream. This is a slippery and a goopy filling, so be gentle when crumb coating because it might slip around and slide more than a cake that's filled with just buttercream. The goal here is to trap in all the crumbs into this first coat of buttercream. That way I have a nice blank canvas to decorate on. Now that that's done, I'm gonna pop it off here and place this cake in the fridge until the buttercream sets while I stack and crumb coat my top tier. With the hard work done, it's time for my favorite part. I'll show you how to create an epic New Year's design using only grocery store items. Starting with the bottom tier, I want to create kind of a white to black marble effect, but very subtle, very easy. I'm just going to start with plain white buttercream, then just a touch of black buttercream. I'm going to mix it in barely like this. Then I'm going to put that on top of the cake. Just like the crumb coat, push the frosting off over the edge and spread down the side. Okay. With my metal bench scraper, I'm gonna straighten and smooth the sides. Now I'm gonna clean up the top edge, blending it seamlessly with the top of the cake. If your finish coats don't look this crisp and clean, just keep at it in practice. I'm gonna put this in the fridge and finish coat my top tier. The top tier, I'm gonna coat all in black buttercream. This is my standard black chocolate buttercream. When I'm decorating two-tier cakes, I really like to think about how I can make it visually interesting. And by frosting the top tier all black, I think it adds that contrast that makes a cake look striking, especially for New Year's Eve. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave the edge unfinished. It's one of these new modern techniques that I've been seeing a lot that looks really pretty. But I'm gonna also make a little waterfall section where I'm gonna drip a gold drip. So the only place that I'm gonna fold in the edge is right here. This is gonna be so cool. This is gonna go in the fridge to chill and set. Okay, this is the fun part. I'm gonna add a black buttercream watercolor effect around the sides of the cake. And it's so simple. All you do is smear some black on, and then I like to take my flexible scraper and just kind of smear it on like this. And if there's a lot of black, lots of chunks of black, I can just layer it again with white and blend that in. Okay, I'm actually gonna chill this one more time. I'm gonna dress up some of the store-bought decorations that I purchased for this cake. One thing I like to do with white chocolate truffles is dust them in gold. Just drop it in, swirl it around, and it will get a little gold coating. I might also dust these yellow macarons to make them a little more gold. It just adds a little shimmer. Okay. The other thing I love to do is mix highlighter gold luster dust with vodka to create a paint and brush on some gold streaks on some of the dark chocolate bars and maybe also the black macarons. This is also what I'm going to use to make a fancy gold drip. I think the gold just really looks nice on dark chocolate like this. Okay, that's good. I think that's all I want to do to decorate my decorations. I'm gonna go grab the cake and finish it up. But before doing that, I need to give the bottom tier some support. So I have boba straws, and I'm gonna stick them in a triangle formation into my bottom tier. These straws are basically gonna act as pillars to hold up the cake so that the weight of the top cake doesn't collapse the bottom cake. Lift it up and trim right at the top, and then push it down so it is flush. This cake especially needs some support because it's so soft and has a loose filling. Next step is the gold drip. This is gonna make the cake so luxurious. I have some ganache that I prepared earlier, which is just white chocolate and cream. When adding a drip onto a cake, I always hold the squeeze bottle over the cake and point the opening outwards, then squeeze on top of the cake and just let it drip over like this. I think drips are the prettiest when they're very different in length. So do some long, some short, switch it up. The reason why I always do it like this is if you were to try to add the drip on this side, you're more likely to spill underneath. So it just keeps everything clean. My ganache drip is set. When I touch it, it's firm. So I'm gonna now paint each drip gold. See, look at that. That's so elegant. All the hard work is done, and now it's time for the fun part. I always like to start with some swirls of buttercream. It's gonna anchor down my pieces. I also start with taller, larger pieces and then tuck in smaller pieces as I get close to the finish line. I'm looking for balance. So balance within each cluster, but also balance throughout the cake. So that's why I like to put a cluster on top and one more offset to the right, and then again on the bottom. And within each cluster, I like taller pieces, shorter pieces in the front, and a variation in the color of the items. This is looking really good. I loaded a piping bag with streaks of black and then the rest filled with white. And this creates a streaky look as it comes out of the piping bag. Isn't that kind of cool? It's a little different. Combining the black and white, I think, ties the whole cake together. Time for the big reveal! Ah! Happy New Year! I mean, do you think anyone would see this cake and think it started at the grocery store? The before and after of this cake, I think is pretty incredible. Happy New Year! I hope your year was as full of love and yummy treats as mine was. Whether you make panna cotta, cake, cocktails, or something else entirely, I wish you joy, abundance, and a sweet new year. Cheers! That's good.